Today, we're going to talk about the subject of self-sabotage. If you're anything like Joanne, she didn't feel powerful in her life. She always concluded that no one could ever love her. And even if she did find someone to love her, it wouldn't be the right person. She was able to recognize from her research that these were subconscious goals. Subconscious goals are programs in our mind that are planted there from maybe childhood or from birth. And these subjects in our mind, or these programs, tend to lead us and guide us through our life, which can really be a disservice to us. Because when we allow these subconscious programs to guide us, we might find that they're not the highest quality programs that we should actually be guided by. You see, the majority of people are guided 96% by their subconscious mind. But you'll find that the majority of your subconscious programs were actually planted there in childhood by your parents. Now, our parents did the best they could, but our parents had their own issues that they had to work on, and our parents had their own limiting beliefs. So as a result, they passed on limiting beliefs to us. And so we're walking around with these limiting beliefs, trying to live our life to the full. And as a result, feeling constantly limited in our life, not actually accomplishing everything we want to accomplish. Joanne had the limiting belief that she could never be loved by a man, that she could never be truly loved by anyone. She also had the limiting belief that even if she found someone, that wouldn't really be the right person for her. And so she went through life with this, and lo and behold, at work, she meets a nice man. And this man is really nice, and she's really impressed. And soon enough, they're dating each other. And things are going really great in their relationship. But here comes the ugly monster of self-sabotage. Yes, that's right. Joanne, remember, she has the subconscious belief that no one can truly love her. So what does she do? She starts to find proof that this man does not truly love her. But this man wasn't just any ordinary man. This man was loving to the core. So this man, no matter how much you would try to prove that he was really interested in someone else, or he was doing something else, or he had some other motive, she could never prove that he didn't really love her. So she had to resort to her other subconscious program, which is that he's not the right man for me. Now, in order to convince herself of this subconscious program, she needed to hyper-focus on the flaws of this individual. This is called the devaluation stage. This is actually similar to what narcissists do to their victims, where they actually start to devalue the person they were at one time love bombing and pouring on all the love and all the affection. Devaluing is where you do the opposite of what makes you fall in love with the person. Because when you fall in love with a person, you're focusing on all their positive qualities. But when you devalue a person, you start focusing on anything negative, any flaws, anything from their past that can confirm that they're not the right person for you, or that they're a bad person, or that they're a worthless person. And so she began devaluing her boyfriend in her mind. She picked out any flaw that she found to be irritating or that she didn't like, and she was really able to glob onto something. Way in the beginning of the relationship, when they were just friends, he opened up and confided a secret in her. It was that he had done something illegal in his past. It was some type of white collar crime that he performed at work that would be over my head, that I wouldn't even understand, but he was ashamed of it, and he didn't want there to be any secrets from this person who he was becoming close to. So he told her about this crime that he committed in his past. Well, this really became her thing, because now she had proof of her subconscious program that this wasn't the right man for her, because after all, he was actually a secret criminal. And so she really began to fester and think about this until she started to speak about it to her girlfriends. And as her girlfriends heard this story of this crime and all the other flaws that this man had, her girlfriends started to say, "Girl, I don't think he's right for you." And so she started to feel like, man, maybe this person is not right for me. And so as she continued to fester in this thought, she finally came up with an idea of how she could get rid of the constant fear and anxiety that she had. The fear and anxiety, of course, was that this man wasn't really right for her. She decided she would report him for all the wrongs that he did. So she reported the man to the authorities. As a result, the authorities got involved in the man's life. The man lost his job, and her family convinced her that she needed to leave this person who is in all this trouble and is apparently a criminal. And so she left. She left the relationship. That is the ugly monster we call self-sabotage. Now, remember, everything was actually great in the relationship. He treated her well. He was a good person. He was very loving. So any person who didn't have these self-sabotaging programs would have simply said, wow, I have a lot here that I can work with. I would like to continue to explore this relationship. But not Joanne. Joanne's subconscious goals picked at her and picked at her and prodded her and prodded her until she finally found a way to sabotage the relationship by reporting this man, destroying his life, and in effect, destroying her future as well. Self-sabotage is basically a mental way of supporting a dysfunctional hypothesis. Now, that's a lot of words to basically say part of your mind is trying to mess you up. The dysfunctional hypothesis that you carry mentally is a belief or an idea that's not really true, that is dysfunctional, that is maladaptive, meaning it doesn't help, it doesn't work, and it's destructive, such as, I can never be loved. No one could ever love me. I cannot trust anyone. Everyone is out to get me. When we have these dysfunctional programs, and there are so many more, and maybe you've identified some, these dysfunctional programs sabotage our life. And so we have to be able to deal with these dysfunctional programs before the dysfunctional programs deal with us. It could be that it's like there's only one thing in your life you feel like you can control, and that's to mess everything up. It could be that you come from a background of complex trauma where you had a parent or multiple caregivers that didn't provide for your needs. And so you saw how difficult life could be, and you felt so uncomfortable in childhood, so abused or so neglected in childhood, that you became used to that feeling of unhappiness. And so you actually feel more comfortable being unhappy than you would feel going towards something that could make you happy in your life. The idea that something could make you happy produces hope, and hope is scary because hope means now you can be let down. Hope means now you can be hurt. Hope means now you can get more pain in your life, psychological pain, the worst pain that you can experience. And you become so afraid that you're going to feel this hope, or you become so afraid that you're feeling it, or so afraid that you're going to lose that person, that relationship. You're so afraid of the loss that you actually create the loss, because creating the loss puts you in control. You see, if you're just to hope and give yourself over to happiness and pursuing what you want, now you're opening up the prospect of chance. You're giving yourself over to the universe in a sense, and allowing whatever happens to happen. That's very scary for persons who are prone to self-sabotage. We become used to being in our negative mood states. We become used to living in the psychological pain and the hell of not having what we need and want. And so we actually choose it. We choose to be unhappy. Because although we don't have everything we need and want, at least it's familiar. It's more comfortable. So we become used to having less. Happiness feels too risky. But if you've ever heard the story of the native boy, he was an indigenous person, and they lived in a tribe of hunters and gatherers. So every child would grow up to be a part of either the gathering half of the tribe or the hunting half of the tribe. Well, this young boy was coming of age and he knew what he wanted. He wanted to be a hunter. And when they were sitting around the fire, sometimes the other hunters would come back with the food, but there wouldn't be quite enough. And when questioned why, they said, "We don't have enough hunters." So this boy really wanted to be able to help his tribe. He wanted to become a hunter. And so he went to the chief and said, "Chief, I think I know what I want to do. I want to be a hunter. I want to help with the shortage of food that we're facing." And so the chief said, "Good. Now you have to undergo a test." And what they had was a maze that was set up with prickly bushes on all sides of the maze. And you would have to go through the maze, and to complete the maze, you can get to one side or the other. There are two completion points of the maze. At one completion point is a prize of a bow and arrow. Once you reach the bow and arrow, you have completed the maze and passed the test. On the other side of the completion, or the other completion point, was a woven basket that's used for gathering berries. So once you complete that side of the maze, you could get the woven basket, and that would be a completion point. So he explained to the young boy, "You'll have to go through this maze and you'll have to complete it by obtaining one of the prizes." And so the boy goes through the maze, and he prides himself on how quickly he is able to move through. He's very intelligent. But then he comes to the end and he sees the bow and arrow. In order to reach the bow and arrow, though, he realizes he's going to have to walk through a patch of prickly bushes. Well, he knows if he walks through a patch of prickly bushes, then that means he's going to get all scratched up. He doesn't want to get scratched up, and that's going to hurt. So he walks back around to the other side of the maze to check out the other prize. After all, maybe he can get a gathering basket, and then he'll be able to complete his mission. Even though he wants to be a hunter and the bow and arrow would make more sense, he decides to go for the gathering basket because maybe it'll be easier. But when he gets to that completion point of the maze and he sees the gathering basket, he realizes that he'll have to go through poison ivy in order to get to the gathering basket. Now, if he goes through poison ivy, then he's going to have all kinds of painful swelling and itching all over his legs. He feels trapped. Poison ivy or prickly bushes. So the boy stands still for a long time, and he thinks for a long time. He decides to leave the maze. So he goes back out the way he came, and he meets the chief at the beginning. The chief says, "What happened? Did you get lost?" The boy says, "No, I didn't get lost. I actually found both of the ends, the completion points of the maze. I could see the basket. I could see the arrow." The chief says, "Well, what's the problem? Why didn't you get them?" And the boy says, "Well, because there was a prickly bush, and if I try to get the bow and arrow, which is what I want, I'll have to get hurt. And on the other side, I went to go see if I could just get the basket. But in order to get the basket, I got to go through poison ivy, which means I'm basically going to get hurt." And the chief says, "Okay, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do." And he walks away. The boy felt sad. He started to go into a depression in the days to follow. And as he would sit around the fire, the people would come back with the food, but the food wouldn't be enough. And when they asked the hunters, "Well, how come you don't have more food?" The hunters said, "We don't have enough hunters to carry the food back." Well, the determination started to well up in the boy's heart again. But what was the boy going to have to do in order to complete the maze? If you're looking at this story and you're thinking, well, the boy's going to have to go through the bushes or go through the poison ivy, you will be correct, because the chief said the same thing to the boy when the boy asked. The boy said, "I want to go back again, but I feel stuck. I don't know what to do." And the chief said, "In life, no matter which direction you go, there's going to be pain. You're in control. You're in a position of power when you choose the pain that you'll undergo, and you do so with your purpose in mind." And so with that, the boy became empowered, and he went through that maze, and he went to the side with the bow and arrow. And he held his breath and started going through the prickly bush. And guess what? The bush tore him up. He got scrapes and scratches all over his legs, and it hurt. But he got the bow and arrow, and he came out, and the entire tribe cheered, and everyone was so happy because now they had a hunter. But he learned a valuable lesson, and it's the same lesson we must all learn in our life, is that no matter which direction we go, there is going to be pain. So you have to choose the direction that lines up with your purpose, that lines up with your values, and that will be worth the pain with which you will undergo. Am I telling you that you're going to have to get hurt? Yes. You see, a person who's prone to self-sabotage, or who comes from a background of trauma, they begin to be controlled by their fear. And they're so fearful of the fear itself that they don't want to feel the pain of the fear. So they're running away constantly. But when you're spending your life running from pain, you're never running towards anything. The best philosophy in life is to turn around and choose the pain that you will take, to choose the pain that you will experience. Otherwise, you'll be living your life stuck. And the pain is inevitable anyway, because time is constantly going forward, and you are constantly getting older, and the tribe is hungry. Your tribe, the people in this world who share your values, they need you. They would greatly appreciate your contribution, but you cannot add your contribution to your tribe until you are willing to face the pain which you fear. Because no matter what direction you go, if you stand still or you go to the right or you go to the left, there's going to be pain. There's going to be prickly bushes or poison ivy. You have to pick your pain. It is the only adaptive choice. When you stay still, when you're afraid to move because you're afraid of the pain, you'll end up dying right there in that spot with no progress. And some of you have already gone through decades of your life feeling the lack of progress. The lack of progress comes from living your life in fear. No more. No more. Fear is not a good motivator for life. Fear is okay in small doses. It can help to keep us safe, but we cannot lead our life by fear. Does it mean that if you just are going for what you want, it's going to be easy and you're just going to obtain it? No, you're going to get hurt. It's going to hurt. But you have to pick. You have to make a decision. So what is your purpose? Which path have you decided upon? What are your goals? Because in order to stop being led by the subconscious program, you're going to have to know where you're actually trying to go. You see, if Joanne could have realized that her number one goal in life was to have a happy family of her own, and she would have realized that this excellent man who was husband material didn't need to be turned into the police. He needed her and she needed him so that they could fulfill together their purpose and have that family that they desired. If she could have focused on her purpose, she would have made adaptive choices. But she was so driven by the subconscious fear and the constant anxiety that she was in, that she was scrambled. She didn't know which way to go. When you feel lost, like you don't know what you want, you'll notice that you also feel like you don't know who you are. When you don't know what you want, you feel like you don't know who you are. Because guess what? Your wants are synonymous with your identity. You are your wants. Whatever you value in this world, that is who you are. So when you don't know what you want, you don't know what you want to do, then you don't know who you are. You are a conscious being. Your consciousness, our cerebral cortex is the most developed of any other creature on earth. It is a gift from God. Your consciousness is your godlike mind. It is your ability to be more than just this basic terrestrial creature working on its own survival and living in and out of fear. You were meant to be more than an animal, just trying to keep yourself safe all the time. Your life is not supposed to be about mere survival. No human is happy, just barely surviving. You were designed to be a creator. You were designed to be a maker, a causer, a builder. You are supposed to be making things happen. Only when you're living in that mind state can you be happy. Only when you're living towards your purpose, a purpose that you choose using your conscious mind, can you be fulfilled. So if you don't already know what your purpose is, take the moment now and imagine for yourself something that you want that is attainable, although it may be difficult, that is benevolent, but is also good for yourself. Something that you would like to accomplish, something that you would like to do. One of the prerequisites for what you choose is that it's got to be worth the pain that you will undergo. Because if you don't choose your future will be chosen for you, and you're going to undergo pain either way. So if you're going to suffer, why not make it for something that you actually care about? You're going to suffer either way. The time is going to pass by either way. Why not get busy living on purpose? Get busy living in purpose, towards your purpose. What's your purpose? You just pick a goal. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to be profound. I would like to have a happy family. I would like to change careers. I would like to become a musician. I would like to become a skater, a dancer. I would like to join a basketball league. It can be something simple, but that goal will now give you a focus so that you can make good decisions and avoid self-sabotaging. Let's take an example. Let's say you want to be a musician. Let's say that's what you choose as your purpose. Now you know whether you should take the job that you've been offered that will induce carpal tunnel. You see, it could be fine to take a job that could cause carpal tunnel, but if you want to be a musician, that's a maladaptive choice. You only know if it's a good choice for you if you understand your purpose. Does that make sense? Like if you know you want to be a dancer, then that will help you to know all the other decisions that you'll want to make. So then if you are dating a man, let's say, and the man says, yes, I would like to have a wife that is always taking care of children, stays at home, and are doing back-to-back pregnancies. Well, you know that doesn't align with your dream of being a dancer, so now you know not to do it. But so many times a person who says, I want to be a musician will pick the job that causes carpal tunnel because he's self-sabotaging. He says he wants one thing, but he does the complete opposite. What can help you is to realize that you must live in your purpose, not for anything else. You must know what your goals are, and then you can compare every decision against your goals, against your purpose. It's got to line up. Life is not about right and wrong. Is this decision the right decision? Is this decision the wrong decision? There are no right and wrongs. It's what aligns with your purpose. What is best for you? This decision is good for me. This decision is even better for me. That decision is best. It's all about picking what aligns with your goals. So what is your purpose? What are your goals? And now what's the big choice that you've been postponing and stalling on? What is it that's been holding you back? You just simply ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Does this help me toward my purpose? Every decision that we make that aligns with our goals, it's an actualized decision. It brings everything in harmony. When we train our subconscious to focus on our goals by meditating every day about what it's going to be like when we accomplish our goals, we're envisioning every night what life is going to be like when we're accomplishing our goals. The subconscious mind gets retrained and it starts to say, we are a musician. It lives in that space. And when you live in that glorious reality, that dream of the future, your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what you're daydreaming, what you're visualizing, and what's really happening. So it gives you the chemicals now for the dream that you're envisioning in the future. So you're getting dopamine and serotonin and endorphins. You're getting all the good chemicals because you're living in that dream of the future, and that helps your health to be better. And that helps you to be in a creative mind space because you're getting the right chemicals, and you're no longer depressed and you're no longer anxious because you're getting the right chemicals. Why? Because of how you're using your mind. You, the conscious person, must utilize your mind to dream of the future, because everything in our reality is created from the dreams of the future of someone. The car that you drive in was dreamed up by someone. The chair that you're sitting in was dreamed up by someone. The shirt that you're wearing was dreamed up by someone. You must be dream driven if you want to change the world, if you want to change your reality. Focus your subconscious mind on your future, on what you want to accomplish. The habit of self-sabotage comes from your subconscious program. You may have gotten it in childhood, maybe something you got later. The subconscious programs are beliefs. If you want to break the habit of self-sabotage, you need to change your beliefs. Does that make sense? If you want to break the habit of self-sabotage, you need to change your beliefs. Joanne believed no one could ever love her. If she just changes her belief, she will stop trying to make that come true. If she just changes the belief. How do you do that? Well, I spent years doing missionary work. And in missionary work, you would have to go into a country that was not yours and convince the people that live in that country that may be Muslim, Hindu, or whatever, to reconsider their religious beliefs. Yes, it was actually my job to help people to change their beliefs. Now, that can sound quite daunting, and to many people it was, but it was just a very richly rewarding experience for me. Because one thing I noticed about most people who had the deeply entrenched religious beliefs is that the number one reason they believed what they believed is because that was what their parents told them. It wasn't more profound than that. So they weren't mad at me at all to come to them and to present a few logical ideas on other beliefs that they could consider. They weren't upset. Well, some were. The leaders of the churches and the other religions were pretty upset with me. But the individuals weren't upset at all, because it's not preposterous that when we become adults, we reconsider our programs and beliefs that we were given in childhood. There's nothing preposterous about that. It's reasonable. It's reasonable to sit down and logically reconsider. So if you have a subconscious belief that you cannot be loved, it's logical to sit back and think about that for a minute. I cannot be loved? Is that actually true? No one can love me? Well, let me think about it for a minute. Oh, there was that guy who loved me, and there was that person who loved me, and there was that person. So I can be loved. There's been multiple people who have loved me. So is this belief still logical? No. It was something I came up with in childhood because my mother mistreated me. It's not a logical belief. And just like that, change your belief. I no longer believe this. I now believe that. It's instantaneous. I know this goes against everything you've heard before because you've been trained and coached by people who maybe they've worked in mental health care or maybe they've been family members, and they say, it's really hard to change. It's going to take a really long time to change. But I'm telling you, as a former missionary, it's like that. When you're presented with clear evidence, I would talk to an atheist and present them with very clear evidence that they may have to consider that there is in existence an intelligent designer. When they see the clear evidence, they decide and they change their mind instantaneously. I have been an atheist my entire life, and now you've given me something to think about, so I now am no longer an atheist. It's just that simple. We decide in a moment what we will do. It's not as hard as everyone presents it to be. You decide. You can decide right now during this talk, I will change right now. I will not live according to the subconscious programs that are destroying my life. You can decide right now. Gather the evidence, base your beliefs on the highest quality evidence, not something your mother told you 30 years ago. It's that simple. When you got a new car, you didn't have trouble changing the belief of what car was yours. Oh, is the old car that I gave back to the dealership mine, or is this new shiny car in the driveway mine? It wasn't hard to change the belief. It was like that. You got the new key, you knew this was your new car. It's that simple. When you got the new house, you didn't say, oh, I'm just not sure if this is my new house. You knew it was your new house the moment someone told you this is your new house. Okay, it's done. Everything is like that. When you had a child, you weren't like, oh, am I still a childless person? No, you knew. I have a child now. When you got married, you weren't like, how do I ever change my belief of thinking that I'm single? No, you knew. I'm married now. Change is like that. You are powerful. Don't let people tell you you don't have the power to change easily. Yes, you do. You have the power to change very quickly. Gather the evidence, base your beliefs on the highest quality evidence available, and act according to that. And when you act again, and you act again, and you act again, and you act again, according to what your new belief is, it changes the neural pathways in your brain. It opens up a new neural pathway, and it becomes easier with time. Awkward at first, but it becomes easier with time. So let's get out of the subconscious mind. Let's get out of the animal brain, and let's live in our right mind, the conscious mind. Let's fulfill our potential. Let's be epic, ethical, powerful, intelligent, and compassionate. And let's cease self-sabotaging by changing our beliefs. So I'm so grateful to everyone who's here, those who are watching us live on TikTok, and the 20 that we have in our Zoom meeting here. Your contributions have been greatly appreciated, and please continue to spread the word about what we're doing. All of you are warmly invited back again Wednesday night for our group meeting, because I want to hear your feedback and help you to get questions answered, and we can interchange thoughts with each other. So looking forward to it. Keep on this course. Love you guys so much. Take care.
Thanks, Roman.
Thank you, Roman.
Good night, everybody. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.